Hello, hello. So, I'm just trying to push through this all in one go now. We are at Bloody Palace 61 to 80 with Nero. This is usually the point that, like, you might get a little tired. I'm not gonna lie. And that's fair. This is the endurance portion is really starting to matter. And ideally, you won't be talking the whole time, so it'll be a little easier. But we're going to deal with the first inclusion of a new enemy since the start. And a lot of these guys. And these guys are going to actually start posing a threat. They're going to be blocking much more reliably. Their parries are going to be more on their game. And they're absolutely going to use their numbers to surround you, much like that. As before, though, bustering them is really good. It's not as safe as it was before, because now they rocket around a lot better. But if you can get them in the air, you probably are in a good position to bust them. It's a very aggressive bluster. Alright, so let's go to 62. Alright, so we have our new enemy. And unlike everything else in this game, like a lot of Bloody Palace gets you ready for Bloody Palace fighting. The first 20 levels introduce almost every enemy, and they really introduce them at a rate that you can get comfortable with them. And then you get here, and they said, well, you know, you're ready. You're gonna deal with these shark guys. I think they're called like gladiuses, because they're supposed to look like swords, and Angus uses them, I know that. These guys are a little frustrating, I'm not gonna lie. I hope I didn't kill all of them so I can kind of show what they do. I did. Okay. So they're going to we're gonna see more of them, but they're going to slide around the battlefield really, like, impervious to a lot of attacks. Ideally, we're gonna use, I'm gonna take out the Angelos here. Same rule as always, take out the other enemy before taking out the Blitz. And if you can use the Blitz to, you know, weaken the enemy, that's pretty good. So, the gladiuses, they're gonna stay under, wow, that Blitz is just messing that guy up. The gladius are gonna stay underground as long as they can, and you can either buster them out or use a charged blue rose shot to take them out. Once they're out, honestly, they're not really a threat, much like they're like a phase enemy. A lot of enemies in this game have phases. Once you put them in that phase, you're pretty much set to finish them off. But, and this is the big but, I don't think gladiuses ever show up alone. They always show up in multiples, and they always show up with more enemies. So, they fall under the category of they're really bothersome enemies that they'll try to distract you from fighting other enemies. Now I wonder, are these the gladiuses? I don't know. I think maybe they're the cutlasses. They have weird weapon names. But as long as you can either focus fire on them first, or kill everything and then take them out. I don't know. This is like, I don't have a go-to rule on them, mainly because you don't see them that often. But when you go up against them, you're going to have to kind of use your own judgment on the situation. If you feel like they're really getting in your way, I absolutely recommend taking them out. That is something else that you got to get used to, is that these Alto Angelos are going to 100% knock you out of... did I just make that harder for myself? I think I did. I thought this wasn't the point. There's a certain point where we're going to have some strange tactics with the Altos, where they're going to be sent by the Biancos to basically launch themselves at you so fast that they explode. And you're going to see a lot of them in a row doing this. And they're just going to keep responding. So we might actually have to just kind of brute force that area. As opposed, because when they're like going out to kill themselves, which they're basically doing, They die the second they hit the wall, and you just wait and dodge them out. If you do kill the leader, Angelo, like I did, you're gonna have to take them out the old-fashioned way. Which, frankly, isn't that bad, once again, because they are weaker without their leader. But it is frustrating. I think that's gonna happen again before 80, so once that comes on, hopefully I can show you. That's a nice surprise, if you're not ready for it. This is actually a good mix of enemies. Namely because these dogs have gotten considerably stronger since you've seen them last. Because now they're going to start dodging your snatch attack unless they're knocked down. And this guy is going to weave between them. And I think they're friendly, because they're both from the Order of the Sword, as far as I understand. I could be wrong. I don't know. I think Angus summons the dogs, so I think they're on the same side. Regardless, we're at the point of the Bloody Palace that you're going to need to be light on your feet and move around back and forth. So Blitz, I think Blitz is accompanied by the Biancos here. So the goal is to take care of this Blitz ASAP. I think if you one combo him, you should be fine before the Angelos are summoned. Which I think I did it this time, but if you don't, deal with these the same way you deal with any other Blitz fight. The second these guys show up, I don't even know if it's 2 or just 1. The second this guy shows, yeah, it is 2. Okay. The second this guy shows up, immediately focus on them. Don't worry about the Blitz. The Blitz literally runs on a timer anyways, due to its nature as an armored enemy. So just avoid him, avoid the Blitz, take out the Angelos, and you should be fine. It seemed like there was a delay between the two of them, so also take advantage of that. Alright, what's happening? Scarecrows. I'm not gonna lie, this is one of those fights that are fun, because they're gonna be focusing on each other, while both being kind of threats at this point. As you can see, these buddies are a lot faster than they used to be. But not with more health for some reason. So you're kind of free to do what you want. These kind of levels, you'll learn the levels where you can just style and have fun. I think I mentioned it before, but like if you see a Mega Scarecrow, you've got time to do whatever you want. And there was no Mega Scarecrow there, but it wasn't particularly threatening. Alright, let's see if the Cutlasses are here. Okay, so I'm just gonna, because I've been talking a lot about making this purposely harder by like summoning the Frosts, so I'm gonna kind of do that. The Frosts and the Angelos are usually particularly dangerous. This worked out pretty well. The Frosts do really well around any enemy that can block, because they can use that time to either get one of their powerful attacks out, or they can use that time, ooh, missed all of that, to get away so they can start attacking at a rate. If you were going to do this level the easier way, I would just try to get the Angelo to approach you, like, around here instead of going to it, and then try to find a way to turn the camera away and combo them off. Alright, so I don't remember if there's anything special or it's just 5 of them here. So they're definitely more aggressive at this point, if you've noticed. They will take every shot they can. They start acting like scarecrows in a way. And that's why, like me, you're going to take some hits every now and then if you're not paying attention. But they're still very susceptible to Buster, and they're very susceptible to just, like, if you are behind them for any reason, they can't really do much. I think they have an attack where they, like, spin behind themselves if you're just hanging out behind them. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so that's the trick here. So I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, I don't know if he's gonna... There you go. Oh. So I haven't really brought attention to that giant orb of death that they summon. If you knock it back with your Buster, it will kill all of them, and it will give you triple S strength. I would use either the Buster or you can use your sword. You use the Red Queen, but it's not as easy as it looks. If you're really big on Zelda and you're good at taking out Ganondorf with his own attacks, then absolutely do it every time. If you're not 100% sure, I wouldn't risk it. That orb does way too much damage. Oh. Thought you weren't going to be fast enough to get me. Alright. Now I wonder, is this just another row, or are you going to use that attack that I need to use? No, you just summon them to attack. Oh, there's that attack again. And yeah, as you can see, it does a lot of damage. You guys are getting my butt a little. Alright. Ooh. Not going as well. Alright. So this is a good time to talk about Devil Trigger recovery. I'm sure you know that Devil Trigger recovers your health at a slow but steady pace, and this is your main way of recovering health in the Bloody Palace. Enemies do drop health, but besides the seedlings, it's never really... like, it's not... you can't count on them. They'll be there to kind of like get you when you least suspect it. But most of the time, you're kind of on your own. So we have like 3 pips left, and I'm hoping this isn't the end of our adventure. But it shouldn't be, because these guys provide a lot... oh, there's a lot of health, and a lot of Devil Trigger power. So if you ever feel like, especially with these guys, if you feel like you're in a situation that you might die, being able to stay in Devil Trigger as you kill these guys, huge bonus to health. I guess it's that time for a fun fact. Fun fact is when you're using Buster, your healing slows down. I don't know if that's one of those, it's because like there's plot reasons, like it uses your energy when you're attacking and then you can't use your head. Ooh, 2 for 1. And you can't use your energy to heal. But I think it's more mechanical, because once you Buster, you can drop Devil Trigger. And I don't think they wanted you to be able to maintain that Devil Trigger at the same time. So, here we are, another day, another Mega Scarecrow. And just like before, these guys are going to go after it. Like the Saplings. Oh, sorry, the Seedlings. Getting too much magic here. But they're going to go after it, so you can even leave it by themselves. I don't know if they can kill each other. I think they just reduce it. Because Blitz, when it attacks enemies, will reduce it to like 1 health. So I don't think they can kill each other. But they can definitely do some of the work for it. So after that really tough Angelo fight, I feel like this level is built to kind of, like these last few levels are built to kind of gauge down the difficulty. So you're going to have some time. If you're low on health and you're up against one of these guys, taunt and gain some style. Use that to get as much Devil Trigger, heal a little bit. I don't know, objectively, maybe you can heal 1 or 2 pips. It's not that great, but it is something. Just like before, I'm just going to aggro the Frost. I don't think the Frost and the swords, I don't think they fight. I'm not going to pretend to understand the complex pecking order these demons have. Once again, it's some Doom 2 stuff. Just, if they fight, they fight. If they don't, they probably don't. Is that it? Is the Frost gone already? Huh. Alright. So I think we're coming to the end of the 70s. We're at 74. Oh, there's our cut movement again. So as you can see, Charge Shot will take it out pretty cleanly. Buster these guys. As long as you can. You're going to find very soon you won't be able to Buster them. So as long as you still can, take advantage of You don't want to try to avoid using your charge shots here because you want to keep them for the cutlasses. Those guys go down really easy once they're up. Go. Is this 75? Alright. Now we're going to see, like, this is more of a tricky fight. The cutlasses are very annoying, and the Angelo is not going to give you breathing space to kind of take them out. Even if that's how they're planned, I still recommend taking out the cutlasses first. Just because their ability to hit you from areas you're not prepared, like, you can't defend or dodge, like, just like that. I couldn't see, I said earlier that enemies in this game can't attack you when they're not on screen. I think that cutlass thing is one of the few exceptions to that rule. Everything else can do that. But it wasn't even visible, and I was at the height of my jump, and it still got me. So, even if there's more threatening things, like the Angelo, I recommend taking them out. They just don't follow the rules really well. I think this is the same thing. Just avoid... I think these are one of those levels you're going to stay on your feet. When you're up against these guys, you don't want to stay in one location. The flying swords are going to eat up your lock-ons a lot, because they tend to be a lot closer. Oof, and there's my charge. Ooh, good, not going. Oh, there's 4 of them? There we go. They're going to eat up your lock-ons, and they're just going to stop you from being able to focus on the cutlasses. I hope that's the right name. That's what I'm calling them. These guys can be busted, and it does a lot of damage around them, kind of like the Frost. But because of the nature of the cutlasses kind of attacking underneath where you are, it's not effective against their own, like, we'll see. That works really well, but because the cutlasses tend to come from below, like dolphin sharks, I imagine, it's really hard to use their buster on more than just, like, ground enemies. Once again, these guys, you don't see them a lot, and they're usually paired with themselves, so there's not a lot of really good strategies because of this. It is impressive how Nero cuts them in half so cleanly. Alright, doggos. Nothing really much has changed here, except for I think we're going to see a lot of these guys. And you're going to, if I don't do it properly, you'll see that these guys can actually stun lock you, because they kind of fire in waves if you let them. And of course, by let them, I kind of mean like keeping them on screen. Yeah. As you can see, if I just keep trying to pressure them, I'm just going to walk into wave after wave of these explosions. And I'm not trying too hard to like change my tactics so you can see how often they attack. This enemy has, as you can see, no problem attacking you in the air. So, moving around as much as you can is really key to getting rid of these guys. Is that the last one? That's the last one. So I think we got one more level. This is 78 or 79? 78, 2 more levels. So, Frost and Fire. I just saw them attack each other. That's a good sign. So exactly what I just talked about kind of comes into play here. The Frosts, you're going to want to keep them in one place to combo them down, and the dogs are going to make it hard to do that. This is like one of the best examples, like literally what I did, I'm just going to roll into that, but literally what I did of starting a combo and extending it with Devil Trigger. So a lot of characters use their Devil Triggers differently, but the way Nero works with his is that it always comes in, do I have enough to spare you, with this wave. And when you use that wave, it's going to knock everything back. And because of the nature of having the second, the Spectre Fighter, or not Virgil, however you want to see it, with the two of you, you tend to attack in a very big arc, so all those enemies you knock down, you can do a lot of damage to them in one go. That's usually the way you want to use Nero's Devil Trigger, unless you're using it defensively to avoid attacks like Burial's like explosion. You want to kind of position yourself that you knock down as many enemies and like unleash a quick barrage of attacks. So I don't know, did we see these already? I could be wrong, this combination. But these ones actually kind of work well together in our favor because both of them encourage a fighting style of constant movement. Yeah, if you hit them with a lower attack, it'll stun them, and then you can buster them out, or miss. But the level 3 will always get them out. So yeah, these 3 enemies, and they're all enemies that I think Angus uses in his boss fight, which I guess the next level, that's what it is. They're all more powerful against you when you're not moving. When you're moving, they don't tend to hit often. So take that to your advantage. Alright, so unless I did my math wrong, we're going to go to the boss fight now. Angus is... Oh, is it not Angus? No, I'm wrong. It's not Angus. It's Kyrie's brother, who I can't remember his name right now, and I feel really bad, because he's the best boss fight, bar none, in this game. Him and Dante. Credo. Credo is a fantastic boss fight. So I could actually die here, I'm not going to lie. And the thing with Credo is that he fights like a humanoid. And humanoid bosses in the Devil May Cry series are the hardest bosses you're going to face. So he's got a shield, he's got quick flurries of attacks, he's got combos, he fights like you. And we're going to see what we can do to work with that. This is also one of the more fun bosses. Try to find times that he is vulnerable, and as soon as he blocks, get out of there. That 3-hit combo you saw when he did his version of the Helmbreaker right there, that is a good time to nail him with a streak. It is kind of hard to buster him when his shield is working, but do your best. An important thing is Devil triggering out of his attacks. This is one of those times, because he's shielded so well for most of the fight, your Devil Trigger is a defensive tool. Alright. So when he's using this attack, you can buster it back, and I couldn't time it. If you time it, you can buster it back at him, which is full of style and gets him open to... Nope. Gets him open to be comboed. But I didn't get it. As the fight goes on, his shield's going to turn red, and those are the times that you know you're doing damage to him. Once his shield is off, you can actually buster him. So at this point, I'm going to be a little quiet because I'm just trying to take him out. It is not really... It is a tough fight, I'm not going to lie. But a lot of it is dodging his attacks. And once you get good at that... No. He's not that bad. He does go up in speed though, so if you're not ready for him, like the fight gets a lot worse. Okay, so his shield's broken, so we can buster him, and I'm hoping that's the end of the fight. It is. Alright.
Is that it?
Wow, I genuinely did not know that there was such a thematic way of defeating him with the Devil Trigger dude out. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna watch that again. But there we are. That was 41 to 60. There's 2 sections left. Oh no, hold on. Is that 41? No, I had that wrong. That was 61 to 80. Oh, thank goodness. There's 1 section left. And I'm gonna go right into that right after this video so I can hopefully finish it in one go. And I might not actually be able to finish the Bloody Palace, but we'll see. So the only thing to know is once Credo's down, we're in the final phase, and the enemies have been ratcheted to the maximum difficulty. From this point on, it's as if you're playing Dante Must Die. And since you can unlock the Bloody Palace... Oops. I guess we'll start here. And since you can unlock the Bloody Palace by beating the game just once... This is, for a lot of players who haven't gotten to Dante Must Die difficulty, this is going to be a crazy ramp up in difficulty. But this is where I'll finish this video at 81, and I'll continue it in the last section.